Good morning, participants. I hope you have enjoyed this big long faculty development program on digital humanities. Uh, it was our effort to introduce you the basic concept. I started my introductory lecture by defining the various concepts and issues and challenges of digital humanities, particularly in India. And now, on the final day of this program, I'm going to talk about one of the most important component of digital humanity, that is the digital heritage. Uh, the cultural heritage, which uh, have intangible cultural heritage, tangible cultural heritage, documentary heritage, natural heritage. Uh, all this heritage, except intangible cultural heritage, has certain life. After some time, it got uh, banished. So it is important that the entire digital heritage, entire cultural heritage which belongs to the humanity should be preserved, should be digitally preserved for the posterity. So in this context, today's my talk, basically digital curation and digital preservation is a very important part of digital humanities. So I'm going to talk about various aspects of automation and digitization and digital archiving of cultural heritage in this today's talk. Uh, so let's begin with defining the modern concept of preservation and access, because preservation without access is useless. It is important that uh, libraries, museums, archives, and communities are society's knowledge hubs and primary information providers. Digital technology opens up a total new perspective for research, teaching, expression, publication, and communication for information. So, it is important to digitize cultural heritage? Because it help in increasing the access. It also help in improving the services by expanding user group, by enhancing access beyond the boundaries of the institution where it is located. It also help in reducing the handling of the fragile and heavily used original material, and also help in creating backup copies, particularly for endangered material. So that way life of the material can be enhanced, and also help in developing collaborative resources by sharing partnership with other institutions to create virtual collection and increase worldwide access, and to seek partnership with other institutions to capitalize on economic advantage of a sharing approach. So the current context of preservation and access is to preserve cultural heritage uh, for the posterity in usable and reusable condition. In India, Ministry of Culture is the body which is responsible for preservation of cultural heritage. Although there are some other ministries and department have certain roles, but mainly Ministry of Culture has divided institutions under its umbrella in different institutions like knowledge organizations, mainly libraries and archives. Then preservation of tangible cultural heritage, mainly ASI, museums, and various kind of other missions, including various kind of resources to preserve and conserve the tangible cultural heritage, monuments, and other parts of that. Intangible cultural heritage, which is basically cultural traditions, folklore, folk music, epics, and all those things, which are part of our culture over the years, need to be preserved under this intangible cultural heritage, and various like a National School of Drama in form of performing arts, and also various kind of academies and North Zone cultural centers. All these are the institutions responsible for preservation of cultural heritage, intangible cultural heritage. Besides, there are museum and libraries under Ministry of Culture, which are possessing a lot of manuscripts. Similarly, other than that, state archives, state libraries, and state museum also possess a lot of information in all the states of India. There are certain universities which purchase very good rare archival material, and that also have a lot of significance in terms of preservation of documentary heritage. To preserve and maintain the digital cultural heritage for the posterity, there are certain kind of legislation and mandates. We have Antiquity and Art Treasure of Act 1972. Prior to that, a lot of cultural heritage has gone out of the country. We have National Commission for Heritage States Built in 2009. We also have Article 49 Indian Constitution, which protect monuments, which talks about protection of monuments and places and objects of national importance. It shall be the obligation of the state to protect every monument or place or object for aesthetic or historical interest declared by or under law under the law made by the parliament. Article 51 AF Part 4A of the Constitution enumerating the fundamental duties of citizens to protect and preserve the natural environment, including forests and lakes, and to safeguard public properties uh, as per the Article 51 AF, G, and I of fundamental duties of Part 1 of the Constitution of India. To preserve the documentary heritage, the Delivery of Books and Newspaper Act 1954, which need to be amended, which is long due. So, when we talk about preservation or accessibility of documented heritage, it is mainly we are talking about manuscripts, which IGNC has done a wonderful government and other official document, National Archive and State Archives, books and other publication, National Library, and preserving the other cultural properties is National Culture Fund of India and National Research Laboratory for Cultural Conservation of Culture, NRLC. So these are the main institutions for preservation of cultural heritage. When we talk about digital curation, so digital curation is a life cycle which help in selection, collection, maintaining, preservation, digital archiving, and adding value to the existing cultural heritage for its access and reuse. So this complete life cycle uh, shown in this diagram is very important for preservation of digital objects and data and also all kind of cultural heritage. And it has multiple stakeholder in preservation planning, not just government, communities. When we talk about languages, communities are having very vital role to play in this context. So it has multiple functions like create or receive resources, select it, ingest it, make a preservation plan, properly store it for access and use and reuse, and then also convert various kind of uh, transformation, like by having exhibitions and other programs for dissemination. So in this entire context, there are multiple issues which deal with digital creation, starting from automation to digitization, metadata creation, digital archiving, digital preservation, and access and reuse. These are all important component. Now, most of the cultural heritage lies in archives, and archives are places, location, or areas designed for storage of valuable non-current records of groups, individuals, organizations, and governments. So now focus should be on digital archiving. And digital archiving refers to series of managed activities necessary to ensure continued access to digital archive for as long as necessary, maybe for posterity. There are various forms of non-current records, letters, pictures, manuscripts, maps, diaries, sound records, books, unpublished document, rare books, films, computer tapes, video, financial record. All these are non-current records which are found in archives. And what is the significance of the role of archive? Archives play a significant role in cultural and social history. It is very important that all institutions such as school, museum, libraries, government ministry, as well as business, among other institutions, store their most important and valuable business record or historical archive for posterity. Further, importance of historical digital archive. This would mean that all past information would never pass down to future generation to enjoy or learn from. Thus, there would be no progress in the society as there is today, because every material has certain life, and if we lose that, we cannot pass on to the posterity. So, generally, archives consider as an important cultural resource, and all these documents need to be does digitize, and they need to preserve. And before preservation, we need to select and make records available in uh, uh, selection form, because everything and anything and everything cannot be digitized. What are the trends in last decade? There is a obsolescence technology. Libraries have dramatically increased their offering of digital archives resources. More and more DAR are being created, born digital resources, digitize initiative, a lot of digitization has been done. And what are the user expectation? They want access anywhere, anytime to all the resources. So this is the new concept of libraries. Of course, digital traditional libraries are still existing and may exist for some more time, but digital libraries are increasing, and that is helping users to have access anywhere, anytime. So in this context, this index to all traditional resources, and also uh, by digitizing this is digital archives are being created, and the concept of digital archive is shown in this figure, like from scanning to metadata creation and image cleaning, and also converting into PDF and required format and making it accessible to the users. In this context, there are certain challenges of digital archiving, and we are facing that. The cost is a big issue because funds are not sufficient, funds are not available with most of the archives. We also don't have a good digital archiving software. Some open source softwares are the only solutions. And the way media is changing, starting from this 8-inch floppy drive to now flash drive or pen drive. So there is a lot of changes in the media, storage media. Now, although technology is changing very fast, but no media has certain life. And there are, of course, there are some confusion on copyright and ownership issues, and authenticity is also need to be ensured in this case of digitization. So for creating a digital archive, we need to have good policy and plan, and that is a very much part of intervention of the technology and part of the digital humanity, because we need to uh, make a complete blueprint of how we are going to create a digital archive. So let's talk about digitization of cultural heritage. What is digitization? The process of conversion of print, non-print, microforms, artifacts, or art objects to a digital form is known as digitization. Generally, this conversion is being done by converting our materials in form of a digital image with the help of various tools such as scanners, computers, software, digital camera, and various other imaging technologies. What is the digitization process? Uh, a process under that we are digitizing and digitally converting the resources. In that context, it is important that we should decide which thought process we are going to adapt. Are we going to have the in-house digitization, or we are going to outsource through outside agencies, or we are participating in some outside project through collaborations? Uh, Whenever you want to digitize, you must just make a digitization document and decide what kind of digitization standards you are going to follow. Digitization standard for slides, microfilm, photographs, books, audio, video, and other kind of material. Because every document types have different set of digitization requirement. It may be rare books, printed maps, atlas, drawing, and other oversized document, non-print material like paintings, slides, microfilm, photographs, negative, audio, video, artifacts, and art object, monastic and numeric data. So these are the document types we must digitize. And whenever we would digitize, there are two things why we need to digitize. First important thing is that we need to preserve it for posterity, but also help in accessing, making faster access with multiple access point. It is easy to search from keywords or free text searching. It is easy to share with others without any botheration of the location. We can share it globally. It help in improving services, like we can, like in agency, we organize a lot of exhibitions, and now we don't require to send the exhibitions to foreign countries. We just take the digital prints, and exhibitions are curated in that country only. It also helps in long-term digital preservation and archiving. It also help in protecting or in enhancing the life of the document. It is very expensive activity, so we must decide why we want to digitize, what is the purpose of the digitized, benefits of digitization, fundings available, are we going to collaborate or we are going to do in-house or outsourcing it. Also, it is very important that what are the resources available with us, manpower, technology, infrastructure, and also we need to know the documents are in which language, do we need any encoding or OCRing, because many of the ancient manuscript OCR is not available, and what level of access we are going to provide, because we have to create digital document according to the level, like access for intranet or access for internet, or do we have ownership or copyright, and what are the options for storage, are we going to store in cloud or in hard disk or in server on which location, and who are the audience, what kind of access they need. So all these questions need to be decided. Besides, what kind of computer technology requirements in terms of high speed scanners and other technological requirement, do we need any training in staff, do we need to engage people from outside, what are the options for digitization, and also we should learn from the best practices of other organizations, and how final delivery will be there, and this digital archive should have a vision and complete blueprint. You must check copyright as per Indian copyright. After 60 years of the death of the copyright holder, such as authors, translator, uh, Indian Copyright Act, which was amended in 2012, should be applicable. Uh, we talk about human resource planning, we should explore clearly what kind of people we have, what kind of manpower we have. Do we need extra manpowers from outside? What kind of capacity building training is required? What are the new opportunity? And also changing the mindset of the people to get them to the work. Budgeting in terms of hardware and software cost, other requirements, and various kind of manpower cost involved in that, other operational expenses, how metadata is capturing cost involved in that, and all these. I think a proper budgeting is required for each and every activities in this context. And what are the tools for digitization? Or if going to do in-house, what kind of scanners are required? Flatbed or film scanner, drum scanner, laser scanner, cameras, analog cameras, digital cameras, robots, high throw out cameras. Or if you are going to use uh, according to the document requirement, we have to select different kind of cameras, and there are different specification of cameras are given in this PPT. And how we are going to convert, what kind of digital format, imaging format or text format we are going to use. If it is a print material, are we going to create a PDF file, PDFA, or and what kind of web delivery mechanism, files format we are going to, for each and every document there is a different set of requirement in terms of imaging formats. Like for non-print material, for slides, microfilm photos, print slide, uh, are we going to PNG or TIFF or JPEG or JPEG 2000? All these new formats are available because this is a little old presentation. So many of the new formats have also emerged. And what kind of audio video digitization we are going to do it? Web, MP3, or now it's MP4, and later version of all these imaging format. And how we are going to do? We are going to use loseless coding or loosey coding, depending upon the requirement. And in case of loseless coding, after coding and decoding, the image can be recovered perfectly. Compression rate is small or zero. It is suitable for graphic drawing, but not suitable picture taken by cameras due to small variation. The original image must be archived in this coding. Lossy coding is image cannot be recovered perfectly after encoding, but the compression rate is high. File size may be less. It is best suited for web delivery. We should also consider what are the provision in Copyright Act 1957 to digitize. We need to understand copyright. Generally, in case of traditional heritage, there is no copyright applicable because all the material is beyond 100 years, so no copyright is there. And all these terms of copyright should be known to you for other kind of digitized material. You should also consider IT Act 2000, which has been amended from time to time in this form, like how digitization or digital preservation going to be undertaken. Digital preservation has certain legal issues also, like after uh, 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 implementing this digitization format, how the copyright and digital rights management will be in practice. So you should also consider digital rights management. There are several barriers to access to cultural heritage that need to be understood, and we have to find out digitization practices which can remove those barriers in collection of material, in selection, and also storage, digital archiving, and copyright and ownership issues, etc. Technology itself is a barrier because it changes very fast. Language is a barrier. Like most of the Indian manuscripts are in different scripts like Brahmi, Prakriti, Pali, or Sharada. Many of these scripts are not known to common people. So how to really convert those technological uh, barriers, overcome technological barrier in terms of language barriers. Um, so image scanning is the only solution in that context. So let's try to understand what is digital preservation. Uh, what are the principles of digital preservation? The basic principle of preservation that are being practiced for preservation of analog media are also applicable to preservation in digital work, like preserving for the long term, that is longevity of the material. Only selected material can be preserved because everything and anything cannot be preserved. And quality of preservation is very important. How we are going to ensure the authenticity and integrity of the original document. And access is most important. That how it is being to be kept in usable and reusable condition for long term. What is digital preservation? What is not? First, let's talk about what is not digital preservation. Digitization is not digital preservation. Copying, one digital collection, websites, online resources provided by the commercial publisher like e-journal, e-books, digital library services, library automation, e-commerce. This is not digital preservation. This may be digital preservation, an institutional repository, learning management system, e-learning, e-publishing, mirroring, backup, digital archaeology, microfilm, microform. Microfilm, microfiche, audio, video are the analog digital preservation, not digital, it is analog. So depending upon the objective and context, it may be considered digital preservation. What is digital preservation? Generally speaking, the digital preservation is about safeguarding and maintaining a digital collection for long term, that is into foreseeable and distant future. The sustainability and accessibility of the digital collection is the main objective of scheme of digital preservation. The preservation of digital collection is must, as without report appropriate digital preservation method, a digital collection may become useless. The main goal of digital preservation process is to keep digital information in readable and usable condition. It combines policies, strategies, and actions that ensure access to digital content over time. Why it is required? Preservation links the past with future. Knowledge is one of new things that lasts long. Significant part of world's knowledge and heritage in digital form. So we need to preserve as memory of the world. UNESCO has very good charter. They have number of program for preservation of like UNESCO Convention 2003, UNESCO Memory of the World Program, UNESCO World Heritage, and now UNESCO Task Force on Indigenous Languages. All these programs clearly give charter to preservation of cultural heritage. Who are the stakeholder in this preservation? Traditional librarians, or traditionally librarians, archives, record managers, conservators, and who are the new stakeholders? Hardware and software developers, creators of technology, publishers, producers, distributors, manager of digital repository, rights holder, etc. So in this context, it is very important to understand that all these stakeholders should come together to digitally preserve cultural heritage. And why it is important? Earlier, the old storage media like clay tablet, papyrus, or all those have very high life. Like clay tablet have life of 10,000 years. Now, when we talk about this is storage, CD, DVD, or hard disk, there is no uncertainty. There is a lot of uncertainty. There is no certain life. Even 5 years is not a certain time for. So now it is we are in a living in a very uncertain world. So it is important that we should have multiple options to keep storage safe. And in this, it is very important to understand that we need to understand that earlier there was not a very big challenge because everything was on visible to eyes, but now it is not. Everything, many things are hidden in bit streams, etc. And there are a number of challenges like media failure. A hard disk can crash anytime, hardware can crash anytime, software can crash. There may be internet problem, there may be intranet problem, and media obsolescence, software and hardware is very high. And of course, there are natural disasters like earthquake and other things. There are a lot of terrorist attack. There are sometimes economic failures. So all these threats are uh, ensure insisting that we should do long-term preservation. Besides, digital object requires specific environment, and also whatever software and hardware we are using today, it may be obsolete tomorrow. And also the different version of softwares. All these insist or give us a direction to preserve it. And also e-resources are now available in various format, and we need to ensure that now there is no print media, there is no most of the things are now born digital, so we have to digitally preserve only. And in this context, I think we need to really think of different options for digital preservation. What are the options? First, we need to understand difference between backup, digital archiving, and digital preservation. uh, Depending upon the purpose, we decide which one is the digital preservation. Also, which is taking care of risk management. What kind of storage architecture we are using in this system? What are the access, security, indexing, and attention issue? So according to that, we need to adopt various kind of digital preservation approaches. So there are different kind of digital preservation approaches: refreshing, migration, emulation, creation of Interpol archive, persistent digital replication, mirroring, preservation of metadata. All these issues deal with digital preservation approaches. Beside, there are normalization, digital archaeology, hardware museum technology preservation, print to paper, analog preservation. And also it is important to digitally preserve media and issues concerning handling care and handling of media, storing in environmental condition to for preventive preservation. That is also very important. What is refreshing? Copying digital information from one long-term storage media to another with no change in bit stream is called refreshing. We do it every day in our day-to-day life. It addresses both decay and obsolescence issues related to storage media. It does not address the issue of obsolescence of encoding and formatting scheme. Longevity of media does not guarantee availability of hardware, software required to read the storage. These are the limitations. Backward compatibility and interoperability are serious threat to longevity of digital information in refreshing. Migration is the best media. Periodic transfer of digital materials from one hardware to another hardware or software. Uh, Migration may include conversion of data to avoid obsolescence, not only of the physical storage medium, but to the other encoding and format of the data. Digital objects will also have to constantly migrated and converted to new formats, computing devices, storage media, and software to ensure they are not left behind an obsolete system. Emulation is the another special type of software which help in migration, but it is very expensive and it is very time consuming also. Technology preservation, somehow creating computer museum, it rely on preservation of the computer operating system, original application software, media, but it is also not a very popular because it is very it has a lot of limitation. No obsolete technology can be kept functional indefinitely. We can keep it for some time, and it requires a considerable investment in equipment and personnel. Replication is the one of the most important and most popular media for long-term preservation. Replication is used to represent multiple digital preservation strategies. Bitstream copying is form of replication. There are a number of projects like locks, lots of keeps copies keep stuff safe is uh, consortial form of replication, while peer-to-peer data recording, data trading is an open free market form of replication. Objective of replication is to enhance the longevity of digital document while maintaining their authenticity and integrity through copying and the use of multiple storage locations. Digital archaeology, it contains various kind of options. Many times we do it because you can understand by term archaeology, it help in rescue of contents and damaged media or from damaged hardware and software. It helps in developing an emergency recovery strategy, involves specialized techniques to recover data from unreadable media, either due to physical damage or hardware failure. Carried out by data recovery companies, it is a professional services available. It is very difficult to do by our own. We need experts to do it. In capsulation is another techniques for digital preservation, which is technique of grouping together digital objects and metadata necessary to provide access to the object. The grouping process lessens the possibility that any critical component necessary to decode and render a digital object will be lost. Appropriate types of metadata to encapsulate with a digital object include reference, representation, provenance, fixity, and context information. Encapsulation considers a key element of emulation. That is also very expensive. We have a lot of analog backup options like log, microfilm, and other long-term media. It is also important to that in digital preservation we should know about the standards. Reliance on standards is very important because without maintaining standards you cannot digitally preserve the contents. Digital preservation metadata is a very important component because you should know what is stored where and how the complete metadata has been created for storage and digital preservation. So it involved administration or technical metadata like date of capture, scanning resolution, initial capture setting, version of digital object, file format, compression technology, object relationship, because it will help in migration of the media from one to another form. It's also important that all these administrative technical metadata should be properly defined and should be in database format to access it. For this purpose, we have different kind of preservation standards. OSRAM, Open Archival Information System Reference Model, is the most popular. There is a premise, there is a XML schema, persistent identifier. Then also there are a number of newly developed things. So premise is developed by OCLC, and it is defined implementable set of core preservation metadata set element, draft a data dictionary to support the core preservation metadata elements. It examines and evaluates alternative strategy for encoding, storage, and management of preservation metadata within digital preservation system, as well as exchange of preservation metadata among systems. It conducts the pilot programs to testing the group's recommendation and best practices in a variety of systems and setting. It explored the opportunity for cooperation, cooperative creation and setting of the preservation metadata. Similarly, OS is very important and very popular. It is also part of trusted digital repositories. So, for implementation of a digital preservation program, we need to have a digital preservation policy, which includes resources, requirements, uh, and also there is kind of standards, copyright issues, training workflow, preservation metadata, preservation and metadata. So all this should be part of digital preservation policy. It is also important to learn how to handle the storage, various kind of environmental condition, how to handle what kind of climatic condition we should store the material. So all these things should be. Now, quickly, I will tell you what IGNCA is doing in terms of digitization and digital preservation of cultural heritage. IGNCA is divided into uh, these major divisions. Kalanidhi is the most important with the resource center, which consists of Kalakosh is for research on text, Janpasam Kaladarshan to disseminate information, Janpasampada to work on lifestyles and tribal issues and various kind of eco-cultural and socio-economic context, and Sutradhara is administrative division. In the cultural informatics lab is responsible for digitization, and Kalanidhi has a reference library, cultural archive, slide unit, photography, conservation, and media center. It's a library with a lot of print material, personal collections. Cultural archive contains all kind of cultural slides, mask, artifacts, audio cassette, videos, full text. Slide unit contains more than 1 lakh slides, digitized now. And manuscript preservation is the most important program. About 6 lakhs manuscript have been digitized and digitally available in IGNCA uh, under both Kalanidhi and National Mission for Manuscript. And already 43.18 lakhs have been cataloged. 6 lakhs are available in digital form. So basically, in this context, IGNC is one of the largest repository of manuscript, and we are planning to create a national manuscript library. Currently, metadata is available on library software. Uh, 43 lakh reports are available under namami.gov.in. And besides this, there are a number of digitization project IGNC. These are the some views of manuscripts on different palm leaf, palm arts paper, and paper, and other scroll, and that way manuscripts are organized, and that way manuscripts are stored. So there are a number of other cultural heritage material available with different institutions. IGNC has digitized 6 lakhs manuscript, 4,000 rare books, and 1 lakh photographs, slides, and 60,000 photographs. So to access this, there are different kind of repositories have been, digital repositories have been created at IGNCA. So I'm just quickly running those things to you, and you can see this is the way access is possible on intranet at IGNCA. You can search and you can find out various kind of. We are using DSpace for creating a digital repository. So these are the tools for digitization of digital cultural heritage, and it is aimed that we should create a national digital manuscript library by combining together all the manuscript collected under NMM and Kalanidhi. So we are working on creation of Indian National Manuscript Library, and very soon it will be a reality. We don't have any policy for digitization and digital preservation, but still, I feel uh, we have number of digital resources available. If you want to go through our website, all these things are available on website. You can just glance through our digital resources at IGNCA. So in this context, we have a journal also, newsletter also, and we have developed some walkthroughs, and our resource center is also working on different. We have created a new audio video digital library, National Cultural Audio Video Digital Archive. We have about 22,000 hours of video recording is already available online. Similarly, Vedic Heritage Portal is being created, and also we have selected national some manuscript as a most valuable manuscripts. Some videos have been developed on Geet Govind, on Devnarayan, on Agni Kanya. We have also compiled the inventory of intangible cultural heritage. Uh, Beside Ministry of Culture is also working on cultural portal, Museum of India portal, portal of an artist. So what are the emerging issues in 21st century? The information of Indian cultural heritage available institution libraries must be made available in India, along with digital copies and mass copies of content. We have to find out the ways to export knowledge available in these resources to utilize the same for sustainable development of the mankind. Indian National Manuscript Libraries need to be developed at the fast, and we now also need to collaborate to take challenges of digitization. So, with these words, I close it here and say express my sincere thanks to all of you for joining this faculty development program. It is a beginning. Definitely, we need your feedback to understand what are the other expectations or what are the suggestions. Your feedback is going to be very important. It was the first initiative, first step of this kind, which need to be discussed in details. And in this context, I uh, suggest that please continue to uh, see, give your feedback, and I'm sure Ramanujan College will be asking you for further feedback. I really grateful to Ramanujan College team, particularly Professor Agrawal, Shukla ji, Ashish Shukla ji, and Nikhil and all Vipin, entire team for making this a reality. And with these words, on behalf of Indira Gandhi National Center for the Arts, I express my sincere thanks to you and looking forward to many such opportunities in future. And I can assure you next time when we'll come back to you, we'll have more structured and more planned program. Thank you very much. Here I close this today's talk and look forward to your further feedback. Thank you. Namaskar.